Okay, hi Balki sir, welcome to Zoom.
Hi,
Thank you for
Sunil.
talking. Okay, so हमने देखा कि you have we saw pictures and videos obviously of your ad shoot that you did with Akshay Kumar recently. सबसे पहले तो it was one of the first shoots I think that happened since the lockdown has begun. So what can you tell us about it? कि कैसा था? Because obviously we know a few things that there was a limited crew on set and you had taken all the necessary precautions that needed to be taken. So how did the whole shoot come around? Can you tell us like how was your experience?
No, it's just it was an important message that had to be done for the government about when the lockdowns lifted, people have to get back to work, and while getting back to work, let's not forget the protocols. Just stay safe. It's not you can stay at home for the rest of your life. You have to fulfill your responsibility. You have to get back to work, but while
That,
fulfilling your responsibility, take care of a few all these hygiene issues, health issues. So therefore, I think what we did also was very much like the ad. I mean, we also were getting back to work. We were also following all the health protocols. So we were also kind of experiencing what we were going to do in the ad. So it was a funny kind of a thing. For once, we were doing exactly the same thing as the ad. And the protocols, it was actually a production process, which was like a learning process for us. So the number of things that have to be taken care of. First thing is lesser people, then complete distancing, of course, equipment for everybody, masks, sanitizers, um, costumes which have been sanitized, vans which have been sanitized, cars that have been sanitized, local area that has been sanitized, people that are sanitized as they're kind of entering through a disinfectant tunnel and all that. And fundamentally, it's about making sure that every bit of contact that there is, you are aware of it. Like when you pin a mic on a person, on an actor, is that sanitized? So each one of those contact points need to be just be aware. But once you're aware, once the production, the planning takes a little time, but once you plan it out, once you enter the set, yes, it's a little odd not to kind of do high fives and say hi or give a hug or something like that. You just say hello, hi. The same happiness is visible through the mask of coming back to shoot for everybody. But just being aware at every moment. I think, yes, we may all make a few mistakes in the first few times or the first few minutes, but I think we just need to move on and kind of keep correcting the mistakes as we kind of go by. But I think more or less, I think we thought through this very, very clearly. I mean, human beings cannot behave completely like zombies and shoot a film. We are finally shooting a film, regardless of what protocol, so we shouldn't forget the film. But we should, at the same time, ensure that, yes, there are smoking areas, there is this, all those kind of things which are, very clear, clearly designated, clearly kind of, followed. All these kind of things. Not so much of, not so much difference. It just gets a little uncomfortable. It's a little uncomfortable in the beginning, in the first 10 minutes, but then you get used to it.
how different is going to be this process like production? How different is it going to be after the lockdown is over? Obviously, like you shot with I think a limited number of people, like about 20-25 people on each set. So
Yeah.
different how there are like I'm sure as a director you're used to having more number of people on film sets. Uh, was it challenging to have less number of people and is it going to
No,
be
actually, it's far more efficient. I think only in India we have so many people on a film set. Nowhere in the world are so many people involved in every department. So, firstly, I think it is going to be a discipline for us to cut down the amount of crew because it's impossible to manage protocols for so many people. Number one. Second, I think yes, in a feature film, it's going to be a little more challenging than a one-day ad shoot because day after day, those people have to be protected, just not on the set. Even when they leave the set and go home and come back the next morning, you have to ensure that they are protected because any kind of health hazard to them is going to affect not just them, their families, but also your shoot, the economics, everything else under the sun. So we've got to be a little careful and plan it through completely. So it's not about blindly kind of putting some protocols. It's about very practical and very. Let's overdo a few things. Let's overdo some health issues or some dangers, or some whatever we think is a danger. Let's overdo it. Let's overcompensate it because it's much better to do that than kind of miss out on any small thing that there is. So let's. I think there will people will do that in the beginning, and people are going to take great pains. A feature film is definitely more challenging, but we'll get around it. Yes, when the crowds multiply, going to other locations and shooting, because there are going to be crowds at shoots, more characters, therefore more care has to be taken. And when there are feature films for 10 people interacting in a scene, that has to be taken care of, how each one is. So it is going to be a little kind of a problematic thing to plan it out in the beginning. But once you plan it out, once you get it, I'm sure that you can get used to it in 3, 4 days.
And also, I spoke with one of the directors, Mahesh Mandarekar. I spoke with him recently. So he also said that, like there should be cooperation from all the people who are present. Like even actors will have to perhaps get used to not having a boy who will deliver a tea to their chair. Like an actor perhaps will have to get up and go get it on his own. So how is that gonna how is all that going to change? There's like
No,
people
I
are
think
used
I don't think a lot of it can change in the sense that I think everything has to be taken care. You can't ask everybody to cut down on everything. There are going to be people. There is going to be catering. People will want to eat and kind of drink on a set. People are not going to starve. So it's got to just be managed hygienically. And yes, if an actor wants a chair on the set, you need to kind of keep a set of chairs that are kind of sanitized and make sure that there is one person who's properly attired, who's properly sanitized, who probably check who's the person in charge of this. So there has to be a department that's created because see, while it's going to be a little more expensive to start planning for all these hygiene things at the beginning, it's also going to be efficient because you are going to have less number of people on the set. So you are going to save some cost, but you have to put it back into where it's going to protect people, where it's going to kind of you got to transport people more efficiently, safely. Because I don't know when public transport how you can ensure that people are protected in a public transport. So, how many people are you going to kind of send cars to? Take care of those cars. All those issues is where money will have to be spent on. And no, I think yes, actors. Everybody knows, in fact, what they have to do and what they don't have to do. I don't think anybody is going to make demands that are not practical. Everybody will be very, very happy to get back to work. So it's not, actors are far more aware than anybody else in terms of how they need to operate because a lot riding on them. They're going to be a lot more sure and careful and be in contact far, far less than other people. So I think yes, but the biggest thing is all the unions in terms of whether it's production design, whether it's lighting, whether it's camera, whether it's equipment, all of them have to be really aware that we have to send lesser people. We have to do things with lesser people. And I don't think lesser people means less employment because there's so much of work that's going to be happening once this thing opens up because there's so many OTT platforms, there's so many series, television, everything. I think there is no shortage of work in our industry once it opens up. Yes, it'll begin slowly, but it'll pick up huge. So everybody will have work. It doesn't mean that all the people have to work in this, all the people have to work in the next, all the people have to work in the other one. You can have 3 people here, 3 people there, 3 people there. So
to
immediately the argument cannot be if you cut down the lesson number, if you cut down the crew, oh, what will happen to the labor intensive industry that we have? We will all be jobless. No, we will not be jobless because there's so much of work.
Also, can you tell us something about the ad? Obviously, it's a message from the government, and
I told you
when
it's one of the it's an information piece which is just telling people uh, to get back to work responsibly, you know, and that's the purpose of the ad. It's set in a village and it's about telling people that you don't have to once the lockdown is open, get back to work, but do it with do take all these precautions, wear a mask, so distance yourself, sanitize, keep washing your hands, and avoid. I mean, take the basic precautions. And it's almost like the fact that we all have to live with this virus around. This is not going to go anywhere. The acceptance of it is big and bold now in all of us. We can't be locked up in our homes for life. We'll have to slowly start moving about. But let's do it intelligently and let's not do it foolishly and jump in. But let's be very clear of the fact that we're going to live with this virus.
also how was it with Akshay? We have seen like you have directed him in Batman. How was he like, and how long did the shoot go on for? Obviously, maybe one day.
We shot for 4 hours. We shot for 4 hours, and Akshay as a team. I mean, if he didn't have the courage to kind of say, "Let's shoot," we could not have shot. A big actor, a lot more is riding on him. He was the first one to kind of say, "Okay, let's shoot. Let's get this done." So confidence from him also kind of makes the cameraman Sylvester said, "Let's kind of do it." Anil Naidu, the production, he's the production head, so he said, "Okay, we can pull it off. we'll do it like this. So I think it requires confidence from all parties to kind of pull it off. I mean, I can go and direct it, but if everybody else is not going to be understanding and be game for this entire thing, it's not going to be possible.
Also, how do you see the near future? Like, obviously, we are like in Mumbai, especially the cases are on the rise as we talk right now. But what do you see in the near future for the film industry? Obviously, many films have been affected, many production has been affected. How do you see all of this getting better for the film
It's the
industry?
same thing. It's the same thing for the film industry as any other industry. Film industry is not any different from any other industry. So I think the cases are going to rise. The cases are not going to come. If anybody hopes that these cases are going to come down, it's foolishness. I mean, we're making a big hoo-ha about the cases will rise. It's surprising the cases are still so low, but it will rise. Fortunately for us, our deaths are far, far less than anywhere else in the world. The mortality rate is far, far lesser. That's great confidence because there's something in us which is not killing us. We are far more immune than other people. That's clear right now. But we can't be waiting for the cases to kind of come down because it's going to go up, come down. As soon as it opens up again, in a lot of places, it's going to go up. It is about living with it intelligently. It's not about locking down ever again. You can't keep locking down. It's not possible. You can't sustain a country by locking down every time cases go up. You can't just lock down. Cases go up means a lot more people have been infected. Let's kind of ensure that a lot less people. If more and more people take precautions, more people start doing things sensibly. I think the cases will ultimately plateau. But the final thing is live with it intelligently. Most of us are not going to die, so it's okay.
Also, people are also waiting for your next feature film. So, are there any plans, any script that you're
I'm
working?
writing it. I'm writing it on the way soon.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Forward to it.
Okay, soon.
Talking to Balki sir, and pleasure. Take
Pleasure.
care.
Pleasure. Thank you. Bye.
Watch E-Town News Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. only on Zoom.